Yo, what is up? It's your boy FinState with CB83A coming to you for another banger of a show. What's good with y'all on this good Tuesday afternoon? Me chilling, man. Ready to talk some Dolphins, ready to talk some training camp. I appreciate you guys coming through. It's always love, man. But we're gonna get to it, man. Hit the like button on your way in. See a few people popping in, popping out. Punch that dang like button on your way in. I appreciate you guys. This one will be fun. Cranking it, getting after it. I gotta send a few links out. Let me do this real quick. Yeah. What's good with y'all? Let me do this. I'm sending a few links out real quick before I get this thing cranking up. What's goody? Do this right here. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's crank it. Let's get it. Y'all ready? You ready? Yo, what is up? It's your boy. It's your boy. What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy FinState with CB83 coming to you for another banger of a show, man. I appreciate everybody coming through and punching that like button for me, man. Do your boy a favor, punch that like button, man. We getting it cracking over here on this great Tuesday. Just chilling, just hanging, same old, rocking out. Just coming to you, we're gonna talk a little training camp, kind of biggest questions for the Miami Dolphins, like going into the season. Answer some of your questions. I might drop the link for some of you guys to come up and just have some conversations. Won't be on long, but we'll definitely be on long enough to kind of get it going and have some good conversation. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to D-Rod, who was in here first. He says, "What's good, killer? What's good with you, killer? What's good, chat? What's up with the gang? Big shout out to the members gang too, and we're gonna run through those guys as soon as we get to that. But I gotta shout out the homie D-Rod, who was in here first. Let's go, killer. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Hey, first and foremost, shout out to the members gang. I gotta give a shout out to my gang, Raul P, Big Slick, Triple S Podcast, Newfoundland, Shake Money, Glenn Paliker, Dolphins Highlights, Adam Sadowski, Irv Figueroa, Pittsburgh Dolphins 72, the homie Q, FMP, and Greg Sousa, who just became a member the other night. Man, I appreciate y'all. Who's next? Join the squad. I appreciate everybody coming through and showing love. Shout out to the Harvey Joseph Latham, who's in the building too. He says, "What's good, everyone? What's popping? What's going on, man? Let's get it. Hey, V21 in the building. He said, switcheroo that bit. Hey, what you know about that Kodak, boy? Hey, what you know about that Kodak? Hey, do the Miami Dolphins go get a Super Bowl this year?
I hope so.
Okay.
Hey, I hope so, man. I hope so. Shout out to Kodak. Shout out to South Florida, man. We in the building. Finsanity5, what's good? Fins up, man. Shout out to Finsanity5, the first lady in the Miami Dolphins community. She's been doing it for a long time. So shout out to Finsanity5. Finsanity, you got to pull up. Pull up on your boy. What's up? Hey, what's going on, man? Pull up on your boy. Trey, what's good with you? V21 in the building. What's good with you, V21? Hey, Raul P in the building. Yes, sir. Raul P in the members gang. You know my dog be getting it in. Trucker Sean in the building. Trucker Sean, what's good? It's been a minute, my guy. Where you been? Trucker Sean? Trucker Sean, one of my day ones, man. He been rocking with the channel. Been rocking, man. Hey, but let me do something real quick. I gotta send out this invite. My messenger is acting crazy, so give me 1 second. I gotta send this out to a couple people real quick. Man, so yeah, what y'all been up to, man? What's popping? Let's answer some questions. I know y'all got some questions for me. For training camp, what's some of y'all questions? Like, what are some of your question marks going into training camp? We just gonna have some conversation. You know, hold on 1 second. Paste that in there. Yeah, man. So we're gonna have some conversations for sure. Trying to look at what's going on right now. Oh, there we go. I see it. Okay. All right. We popping off. I appreciate y'all, man. And I post these links on Twitter, just kind of right before I go live. On Twitter. I don't really post on Instagram like that. I need to get more active on Instagram. I need to get to the point where I stream on Instagram and stream on StreamYard at the same time. It's possible. I just haven't kind of set it up. So that's why I haven't been doing that. But as y'all can see, I'm going to be going live more often. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. We do this on the regular. The season is coming up. We will be doing training camp coverage. So I will be down there in Miami kind of going live, telling you what I see as much as I can. I won't be videotaping or anything like that. I'll, give you a little glimpse here or there, but I can't like film the whole practice because they will shut you down. They will keep you from coming in there. So, I do what they allow me to do. I follow the rules, right? I follow the rules. So, yeah, I'll be down to training camp in a couple weeks. 2-3 weeks I'll be down there. I'm actually going to be in Canton, Ohio, the 27th and the 28th for my son's flag football tournament. So they play kind of at the Hall of Fame the week before the Hall of Fame game, which will be fun. And it should be a good trip. They play, against some of the best talent in the country when it comes to flag football. My son plays 8U, and their team is ranked like number 30th in the nation right now. They started the year off kind of ranked like, 90th in that range in the top 100, and now they're kind of moving up the rankings. Teams are kind of looking at us. And, my son's playing quarterback. He's getting better. He's playing well. He's still just got to, he's got to grind. And that's what I have to instill in him. He knows that too. It's like, if you want to get better, you got to work at it. That's just a part of the process. So he's been busting his butt, though. He's a gamer. Let me see if I can go to my Instagram page and kind of show you guys a little bit of what he is doing. But he's a baller. He plays pretty well. And we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. Let's go here. Let's go to profile real quick. Oh, this is him right here. This is a good video to show you guys. It won't take but a second. Just kind of, let me see here. Present, share screen. S Harris, what's good with you, my boy? I see y'all, man. I see y'all in here holding it down. See y'all. What's good with you? So this is my personal Instagram page. This is him right here. Check him out. Check him out. Let me see something. Dang, give me some audio. What's up with that? I can't. They won't let me run it back, but I'll run it back. But this is him. He plays quarterback. He just turned 9, July 3rd. So, that's really why I've been so ghost, right? We've been having tournaments like every other weekend. This is us playing against Marion County Juice, who's out of Ocala. They're a good football team, good flag football team, good organization. So this is us playing them. This is my Instagram page, celebrate my birthday, stuff like that. Let me get to the video though. Let me show you guys this. That's him. Yeah, that's him scoring the ball right there. Touchdown. This is him right here throwing the rock. Yeah, he can go, man. Yeah, them boys, hey, we have a good time out there, man. And that's honestly, that's where a lot of my time goes. Let me stop sharing this. But yeah, man, that's where a lot of my time goes. I'm usually like on the football field with him, or at practice, or doing something in regards to like family stuff. But as the season cranks up, it's a matter of trying to balance it out, right? And he does have his own Instagram profile. So hold on one second. Let me see. It's cam.batten. So I'll show you this real quick. So this is his Instagram profile right here. And that's my daughter there. That's him. This is his team. So he plays for BNA Elite, which is an 8U team here out of Central Florida. Good football team. We got some good players. A couple of the players, their parents have paid professional football and college football. So we just try to get them together, teach them the fundamentals, have them, learn the game. I think that's what it's about. This is him as, some of his QB buddies. They do a good job. They do a good job. So that's what it's about, man. But getting into kind of talking about the Miami Dolphins a little bit. And I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys kind of taking the time to just, allow me to chop it up. I see y'all in here. Shout out to Trucker Sean, TDR, Adam Sadowski. H, what's good with you? Raul P in the building. Mountie, what's good with you, man? S Harris, the gang. He says, what up, fam? V21, I see you. Trey, I see you. Rodney Baker, what's up, man? Fins up, CB. What's good with y'all, man? But yeah, getting into talking about training camp a little bit. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball, right? Coming into training camp. So if I was to talk about the defense last year, I think the defense was I would say they underachieved last year, right? Um, and that's just me and my thoughts on where they are, right? Um, Now I know you had a um hang on, let me send this text. Um so yeah, so you had a new defensive coordinator last year and Vic Fangio who came in, and it's unfortunate that it didn't work out to where he could stay. Appreciate you, Raul P. Appreciate you, bro. Um so it sad it didn't work out to where he could stay, right? I thought from outside looking in, it seemed like he was a good person. Um, I didn't think he was a bad play caller. I think, some of the schemes at times were a little iffy. And I thought, we'd be a little bit more aggressive in terms of how we play defensively. But I mean, I thought it was a solid year defense. It was just underwhelming. I felt like we underachieved. Uh, if you guys were to rate our defense last year, like what would you grade us out at? Would it be a B, a C, a D, a F? What would you guys put? Uh, give me a grade in the chat. Let me know where you guys would grade the defense. Um, I think I would have the defense at maybe I would say a C or a C plus, because I think we were right around that, average to above average range for the talent we had, right? I think this team was I think this team was super talented last year. Um, and I felt like defensively they just, they didn't really like play like that. Um, I see Joseph with a C plus, Adam Sadowski with a B minus, and I think that's where I would be. I would be in that C plus B minus range. Some games they showed up, some games they didn't show up, and I think it was more of like the inconsistencies also. Because I just felt like they could have been, much better as a unit. But um, this guy, crypto slash chump change, says C plus. Injuries definitely hurt us, and that's something that this team has got to be better with this year, right? Is being able to fight through the adversity. I don't think we handled the adversity very well last year. Um, and people can say, "Oh, we still made the playoffs. We still fought to get in. We beat the Cowboys and stuff like that." But I mean, I feel like we got to do a better job. D. Rod says a solid C. Shout out to Marino's Go. What's good with you, man? Do me a favor and punch that like button on your way in. But yeah, I think we would be in that C plus range, B minus. I just feel like, we have the opportunity to be better. I felt like we had some great players last year defensively. Jalen Ramsey X, who we wanted to play in that great range, but didn't really work out. Javon Holland, Deshaun Elliott. These are all guys that can play good football. Um, as a unit, I mean, they kind of struggled to put it together. And we saw that in some games, and we saw where they did put it together in some games. Um, but I think honestly, it was hard for me watching the Dolphins play last year because we rarely put it together where defense was playing well, offense was playing well, and special teams was playing well. Like we had a hard time putting together games where everybody came to play, right? I felt like sometimes it would be the defense, sometimes it'd be the offense, sometimes it would be, neither, right? On either side of the ball. Now we did have some games where, we came to put it together, right? But also I often feel like, some of those games were versus, talent that you should be dominating, right? And we came out the gate kind of swinging, right? Came out the gate swinging. I thought we got off to a pretty good start, and the injuries just started catching up to us, right? And that's where it hurts us. And we got to be able to. This is kind of Mike McDaniel's third year, right? And I understand that these guys need time. I understand that Mike McDaniel needs time. It takes time to kind of put it together. Shout out to Glenn. What's good, Glenn? Um, it takes some time to put it together. So I want to see the Miami Dolphins come out um, and put it together defensively. Now we have Anthony Weaver, who we kind of had the conversations yesterday, and we are talking about Javon Holland and how some guys kind of took a step back last year. Like I felt like Javon Holland wasn't the same Javon Holland that we were used to seeing. Felt like Cater Kohu wasn't the same Cater that we were used to seeing. I felt like he was a shell of himself. Um, we need some of those guys to get back to playing loose, being comfortable in the defense and going out there and playing well. Because I feel like that's what hurt us last year is that, some of our best players didn't perform like they had performed the year before. And that's unfortunate because that's what we need, right? Um, so that's going to be important. And we do have a lot of new players on the unit defensively, right? A new defensive coordinator. But I'm not going to use that as a crutch for them, right? I'm not going to use that as a crutch for them. I'm going to I'm going to have high expectations for the defense because honestly, if you can start fast anywhere, it's typically on the defense. And usually defenses are ahead of offenses going into training camp, even with, new personnel, new bodies, just because from a defensive standpoint, you're typically lining up at your position and you're flying off the ball because you know what you're doing, you know what your responsibility is. Now with offense, it's a little bit different. There's got to be chemistry, there's got to be cohesion, there's got to be timing. You don't need any of that on defense, right? Like when it comes to like stunning and movements and stuff like that, you're gonna need to kind of practice that with your unit, with the defensive line, or practicing blitzing with the linebackers um, and the defensive line. But defenses should start fairly fast. And that's what I want to see from this unit. I just want to see them come out, play fast, and get after it. Because I think that'll be the difference in terms of us winning games early or losing games early. Honestly, I think a lot of this is going to be on how the defense comes out and plays. Now, offensively, we got to perform too. That's a given, right? We need all three units working in unison, playing good football. But I understand that, hey, that's not going to be the case all the time. At times, you're going to have your offense um, starting slow, right? And that's where you need your defense to step up and make plays, create turnovers, get the ball back for you, um, and be the difference, right? And there's going to be times where the defense is struggling, and that's when you need your offense to just go out there, move the ball, be efficient, and just continue to put points on the board. So, um, Mike McDaniel's team has got to be a team that starts fast, right? I want to see us get up on teams and not have to play from behind because I feel like when this team gets up on teams, I feel like that's the better situation for us. We're not a great team, and there's not a lot of good teams who are great playing from behind, right? But there are some quarterbacks who could get away with that gunslinger mentality when you're playing from behind. Guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Lamar Jackson can kind of get away with that a little bit because they have a little bit more playmaking ability than a guy like Tua, right? They can sling it around, they'll take the chances, they'll take the shots. We got to be a little bit more methodical in how we approach offense, right? And that's no knock. That's just it is what it is. And I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with all y'all. Like we're not the team that can throw it. I don't want to be the team that could just chuck it around and just that's not who I want us to be. I want us to be balanced in our approach. I want us to be able to run the football. I want to be able want to be able to throw it when we need to, take your shots when you need to, because you're gonna have some opportunities, and we had opportunities last year. It's like, um, you're gonna have opportunities to take shots because teams are gonna try you, right? They're gonna come up and press, and that's when Tyreek and Waddle got to do their thing, right? There's a motto out there, right? Slow feet don't eat, and also if you even, we leaving, right? That should be the motto for Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, those guys, those speed guys, because honestly, if the corners are playing up, or the safeties are kind of down in the box or peeking, and trying to play the run, we should be running past them, right? Tua should be giving those guys a signal. Mike McDaniel should be seeing it, or somebody in the box should be seeing it, and we should be dialing it up, right? Now, so and that's what I want to see. So defensively, we got to come to play, and coming into training camp, I think our secondary should be, I think we'll be better than we were last year. Um, I think we'll be better than we were last year. And then shout out to Irv with the $2 donation. I appreciate you, bro. He said early Calais is gonna help with pass rush, and later inside. Later inside. Yeah, I mean Calais is gonna be big for us. I think Calais is gonna come out and do his thing. Seasoned veteran, right? You got a seasoned veteran who has been there, done that, has played big time football, and who can lead a group, right? Who can lead a unit. So I'm excited about Calais. I'm excited about the addition there. Man, I keep forgetting we got all these guys. We got so many guys. So many guys. But yeah, man, appreciate the donation, Herb. The $2 donation helps the channel. Appreciate you, dog. Let's go. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. 305 boss says, don't pay to him, make him earn it. I hear you, man. I hear you. Hey, look, we got somebody in the back. Hey, shout out to the homie for pulling up. What's good with you, my boy? It's been a minute. Where you been at, Lou?
Hey man, it's hot out here and we outside making this money, CB. That's what we doing, dog.
What is popping? My man Lewis, jumped in. What's good with you? How you been, bro? What you thinking about the Dolphins kind of going into training camp? What's your thoughts, man?
Hey, I was listening earlier, man. Yeah, from the defensive side, man, I kind of agree with you. I had them a C plus, maybe a B minus if you want to be nice. There was a
Yeah.
couple games, they played well in last year, but I think you hit it right on the head. I think inconsistent, right? You want to see some consistency there.
Yeah.
Um, There's a lot of defensive camp battles, though. I know you were just talking about Calais Campbell. Just the
Mhm.
defensive line for me, bro. Like, there
Yeah.
are so many guys. Like, I like the Calais move, right? But again, 37, I think almost pushing 38 when the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
He played over 600 snaps last year for Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you think he's penciled in as the day one starter next to Sealer?
Yeah, I think so. I think you
Mm.
would. I think you would play Sealer maybe in that shade technique, and maybe put Calais in the 3 or the 5. Just kind of depending on what type of formation. If you do a 4-man front, I think um, you may have Shaq Barrett on one edge. Maybe he's in a 9 tech or a 7, depending on if you got a tight end. Maybe you have, Chop on the other side, or you have Kamara on the other side. You got some edge defenders that you can work in there. I don't know how soon you have Chubb and you get Jalen Phillips back, but once you get those guys back, you really should have a good rotation. Um, but I think you play Calais in that 3 or 5 technique role, and you make him just that dude who they're gonna have to kill in order to like run the ball on you and run it efficiently. And I think Siler will play well inside, bro. I think he'll play well. I think he'll, kind of man that shade tech, and just be a force. Like, if you can put, both of them at a 3 tech, or put them at 2 eyes or something like that, bro, that front should be killer. I like the way Calais plays. I think he's a little bit more physical than Christian Wilkins. Um, I think Christian Wilkins is a little bit more finesse of a player. So it's going to be interesting to see how the defensive line plays with Calais kind of in that rotation.
Yeah, I would agree, bro. I listen. The kid from Dallas is intriguing to me. Gillenmore, I believe his name is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
He's
To hear
intriguing.
Tart. Yeah, you
Tier's
got some.
Hart is on that
Yeah.
line. So another camp battle, CB, getting away from the defensive line is Cam Smith, right? Like what? Still the
Mm,
mystery. It's like you put him in a box, you've never seen him, right? It's like opening up a new gift at Christmas, bro. Like,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on Cam Smith? Again, reports last year in OTAs and training camp, he was having good and bad days. It sounded like he was having more good days than bad days.
definitely.
Then we seen him in the preseason. He got kind of beat on a double move, and we never seen him again. If this
It's
kid can hit, bro,
bro.
right? Like it just gives you a tremendous depth in the secondary. What's your thoughts on Cam Smith, bro?
Man, if Cam Smith is anywhere near to what he flashed in college or what he flashed early on, in training camp last year, bro, I think he could be a dog for us. I mean, honestly, when we look at our secondary, I was at training camp last year, bro. And honestly, I felt like Cam Smith was one of the best players out there, one of the most talented players out there,
Mm.
right? And even in preseason, like you can just see he was trying to get comfortable, trying to get into a rhythm. And he got beat one time, but that's how players learn. Like it's a matter of getting beat, you know, coming back the next play and realize, hey, I can't make that mistake again. I think um we had the type of coach in Fangio who just didn't really trust rookies and didn't really trust putting young guys out there in order to take their lumps. And I felt like even with guys like Tua at the quarterback position, bro, you're gonna have to take your lumps, and you got to be willing to let these guys learn on the run. They're gonna get beat at times, but that's the nature of the cornerback position, bro. Like everybody gets beat one time or another. Ramsey gets beat. All the best players get beat. So you got to have him take his lumps. Now, just imagine if he comes out and he flashes and he is playing really well in our defense. Bro, we're going to have so much depth. There's so much you can do with him too. Like maybe you put him in the slot in some plays, maybe you cover the tight end with him. There's just so much you can do in terms of like defensively with the type of depth we have in our secondary because we still got Fuller, you still got Ramsey, you still got Kader
Cater.
Kohu,
Yeah.
you still got the safeties too. Poyer, you still got Javon Holland. So honestly, bro, our secondary should be rolling.
Remember, you brought in Marcus May at the safety position as
Yeah,
well.
you brought in Marcus May too. Just so much you can do with these guys, man. And all of these guys have, they have strengths and weaknesses. So as long as you're playing guys to their strengths and trying to put them in a position to be successful, bro, you should be straight. You should be straight defensively, especially in the secondary. It's going to be interesting though.
Yeah, and I was with you when you said you weren't kind of gonna give the defense a pass. I'm right there with you, bro. We all know it's easier to not only coach the defensive side of the ball, but
Hmm.
it just from to get acclimated with the new scheme or coach or whatever. It's just easier, man. It just
It
is what
is.
it is. We don't make the rules. So I'm with you, CB. I think this defense from week one needs to hit the ground running. And then I think it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, David Long Jr. had some interesting comments and
Mm.
he came out and said that last year, whether and again, he graded out as the second best linebacker in the game, right? Like
Yeah.
he had a good year, but he said trying to learn that and then it wasn't comfortable to him. He could never get comfortable. He says he already feels like he's 100%
Wow.
ingratiated into this defense and he's back into his natural like position of how he plays football. He was basically saying him and the defensive coordinator Weaver, they kind of see the game the same way. Were his words.
Mm.
And bro, I listen. I can't wait for it. I think David Long Jr. being next to Jordan Brooks, right? Anthony Walker Jr. coming over from Cleveland. Just a revamp. I know we're touching all aspects of the defense. We did defensive line,
Yeah.
secondary. Bro, this linebacker crew, it could be one of the best linebacking crews in the AFC, bro. I mean, I'm pressed for somebody to give me another.
Mm,
Again, just three guys, right? Anthony Walker Jr., legitimate starter, right? Jordan Brooks, legitimate starter.
David
David
Long
Long
Jr.
Jr. Bro, like, does the Miami Dolphins have a top line linebacker crew in your opinion, CB?
Bro, like David Long Jr. is tremendous. Like, and when I say tremendous, I mean he's cat like the offensive linemen struggle blocking him. He just knows how to dip and rip and get guys off of him and make plays. He's the total opposite of what we had in Jerome Baker. Jerome Baker would literally just get attached to guys and just hang there. But David Long Jr. is just not doing that, bro. He's gonna find the ball. And I think you add a guy like Jordan Brooks into the mix and Anthony Walker Jr. And just keep in mind too that these guys are going to play off of what the defensive line does, right? And if Calais is able to hold guys, right, and able to take up double teams and stuff like that, it's just going to free them up to make plays. So I like adding a guy like Calais Campbell to the defensive line because not only does it help the defensive line in terms of like run stopping, pass, pass rushing, you're also going to help. It's going to free up these linebackers, bro. And these linebackers should be able to tee off on guys with a line like Calais Campbell, Zach Seiler, um, Chop, and these guys like that. Because, bro, the offensive line, they only have 5 to 6 guys at max when they got a tight end. When when you can kind of double team or have guys double teaming your 5 tech or your 3 techs, and your linebackers are free to kind of do what they need to do, bro, it becomes a problem for offenses. It does. And that's the worst thing you could have is linebackers who are flying around and just enjoying playing football and knocking cats in the dirt, bro. It's the worst thing, and it's the worst morale for like your offensive line when you see your guys just like looking around like, damn, this dude making another play. It's like it's a problem. And David Long Jr., Jordan Brooks, them guys should be teeing off. They should be teeing off, man. Man, here we go. To a Tuesday. With the $5 donation says CB, you sound like someone that is already making excuses for this team. The offense should come out on all cylinders, no excuses with Tua on his 3rd year. And I agree, man. Making excuses, that's the last thing I'm doing. Now, the defense should be operating for sure, right? Offense should be operating as well. That's a given, right? Tua's 3rd year in the system, bro, like McDaniel's 3rd year as a head coach. Um, we still have the same offensive personnel up front for the most part. We still got the same receivers. We added some additions, but the offense should be operating as well. This isn't making excuses for nobody. Honestly, both sides of the football should be clicking early. Point blank, period. Both sides should be clicking early. Both sides should be making plays. That's the nature of that beast. So that's what I'm saying in terms of that. And I appreciate the $5 donation. I know you wanted to get that off. I would have put it on the screen for you for sure. B Show says, what's good, B Show? B Show 58 says, Brooks, baby, I'm telling you. Yeah, Brooks is going to be a problem. Timothy Washington says a good linebacking core is the key to beat Josh Allen. Key, right? When you can drop those guys into the pockets where he wants to throw the ball, or when you can just make those guys like Josh Allen, you force them inside the pocket, you keep them inside the pocket, don't let them get out. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. Anthony Manzano says, CB, can you drop the link, bro? I want to jump on and talk to you. Ask me some questions in the chat. I'm not going to drop the link yet, Anthony, but if you ask me some questions, I'll be sure to try to answer those for you. Timothy Washington says, I think Channing Tindall will progress this season. Honestly, we'd like to see that, man. Honestly, I want to see Channing Tindall get on the field and get reps. I'm not holding my breath because it hasn't happened yet. But, man, I'd love to see it. He's had plenty of time to learn. It's another defensive head coach another defensive coordinator coming in. But I mean, you still got to come in and make plays, man. You got to learn the defense. You got to be where you need to be, and play fast. Just that's it. Play fast. Get out there and commit to it. Commit to what you see. Do it 110%. And if coaches see you doing that, give it 110%. Going full speed. That's really all they can ask for. To a Tuesday back with a comment. He says, "I'll give the defense a little of a break, but not the offense." I don't know. I honestly, I feel like both units should be clicking. I'm not giving the defense a break because you got too much talent over there. Shaq Barrett, Calais Campbell, Jalen Ramsey, Poyer, David Long Jr., Chubb, Jalen Phillips. I mean, you're talking about like top 100 players in the NFL, or guys who've been top 100 players in the NFL, right? Those guys know how to play. They've been on multiple teams and multiple systems. I can't give those guys any passes. The defense should be rocking and rolling, bro. It should be. Even with a new defensive coordinator, it shouldn't take long. Defenses just don't take long to gel. Um, Jose M, what's good? He says Fangio was making too many mistakes last year, overpaying players, beefing with players, and getting them hurt. I'm interested to see if we have a healthier and intact defense, and I'm interested to see that too. Um, I don't agree with the overpaying aspect, because he's not responsible for paying them. That's Greer and those guys. Now, beefing with players and getting them hurt, I do kind of agree with. I do think the relationships were a little rocky. And I felt like he was overusing guys. He buried guys like um, who was our guy we had? The defensive edge, the edge rusher. I forgot his name. Who rarely saw the field. Um, man, I'm drawing a blank. Who's the edge rusher that got buried on the bench, but was a good player for us? He was making a lot of money too. Like he should have been getting some reps. Like you don't play edge players every play. You got to spill those guys. It was definitely Agba. Yeah, appreciate you, Joseph. Agba was buried on the bench, and I don't know why. Right? Um, couldn't really get the reps. I felt like he should have been able to come in and spill, Chubb sometimes, spill Phillips as you need him, and give you some production. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, Anthony Manzano says, "CB, do you think David Long gets underrated just a little bit because of his injury history, and people don't think he can stay healthy?" Well, I mean, you could say that, you know, that's a thing that he's hasn't been healthy, but he played it, all the games for us last year. So I think that's it's no longer something people can kind of hold on to, because I feel like at this point, um, we're rocking. I feel like he's rocking. So yeah. Hold on one second. Give me one second. All right. Timothy Washington was good. He says, "Who will be tight end 3?" I'm going with Jody Fortson. I think Jonnu Smith is 1. Durham Smythe is 2, and it's either Jody Fortson or what's the Julian Hill. Jody Fortson or Julian Hill. It's gonna be interesting to see that tight end camp battle too. That tight end camp battle will be interesting because I think one of those guys aren't gonna make it. I don't think we're gonna carry 4 to 5 guys. I think we may carry 3 and a fullback. The fullback will be like your fourth guy. Um, J.R. Black says, "I 100% agree with our linebacker room. I feel best room since Dansby." Ooh, okay. Back in the Dansby days. I had a Dansby jersey. We have dogs mentality, instinct, and leaderships in the linebacker room. I do not feel we will be called soft on defense no more. I like that. And I think that's what the Dolphins were missing. Um, you know, with Jerome Baker in the fold, I think, you know, we just didn't have that presence in the middle, that thumper. We had David Long, who's a good, good player, right? Real good player, but that's just one guy. I think you need multiple guys in that room to kind of set yourself apart, from the rest of the pack. Lou, you back?
Yeah, yeah. I ended up falling off, man. My
No,
bad.
no, you're good. You're good. Um, what's your thoughts on the offense, Lou? Tua Tuesday had a comment, man. He said I sounded like I was giving the offense a pass. What's your thoughts on the offense? Should the offense come out rolling? Should they be rolling too? Just like the defense. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely. I'm not holding. I think this team. What did we hear going into last season? Oh, it's going to be Tua's best year yet because this is the first time he's ever had a coordinator past 1 year. Okay, well now his coordinator. This is 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not one or two no more. I think Tua knows the offense to a T, right? I think he
Hmm.
knows where every guy's supposed to line up. I think he knows what every check is. I think he knows where guys are supposed to be, right? So, no, I believe if you're leader of your football team, which is your quarterback, if he is prepared like that, I believe the rest of the team should be prepared like that. I, Listen, I don't think Jalen Waddle doesn't work. I don't think Tyreek Hill, they don't work, right? I think they all put in work. Even when we
Yeah.
drafted Malik Washington, right? The first thing he tweeted out was, "Hey guys, let me know the next park you guys are going to be at. I'm ready to go to work." Listen, A Chain, right? Mostert that's been in the system for years. Yeah, listen, I don't think there should be any hesitation. I think guys are going to feel comfortable in this offense, and I do think CB this offense is going to hit the ground running.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. When you got guys like A Chain and you have guys like Tyreek Hill and Waddle, these guys are explosive. I think they're gonna hit the ground running. Mostert's, still a great addition to the running back room. A veteran presence. I think you got Jalen Wright who could be kind of worked into the fold. There's a lot of weapons there. Um, and Mike McDaniel's smart when it comes to the offense, right? Like, I mean, his play calling in situations is questionable, right? In terms of run versus pass, but Mike McDaniel's offensively does have that shit kind of dialed in and figured out. Like he's called some really good games. And when we go look at, the offense and how the offense has performed, I mean, they've been top 10, right? They've been top 10. The defense is kind of getting into cracking the top 10. And that's all you want. You want units that are going to be effective, but you also want units that are going to be sustainable and that can go into the playoffs and win games. And I think that's where they've kind of fell short is just not being able to stay healthy and sustain um, their power and explosiveness late in the season. And I think that's where Mike McDaniel needs to be better. It's just your offense needs to travel well. It needs to travel and weather well. Like we're not always gonna have a home game. So we gotta be able to figure out playing in the cold, playing on the road, playing in, hostile environments. What's your thoughts on that, Lou?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, that's the main hurdle this team has to
Yeah.
overcome, right? Is learn how to win. The offense, I think, is there. I think the defense should be there, right? There's not a lack of talent on this team, CB, on
Mm,
paper. It just has to come
mm,
together. So
yeah.
I think third year in, I do believe this will be the next step that Mike McDaniel has to take. You have to learn how to win in this league. Sometimes, I mean, you just have to learn how to win in life. It
Period.
just is what it is, and period, right? You have to learn.
Yeah.
And I think this team is ready now to take that step. Again, I don't want to come off as a homer, but when I just look at it, this team should be able to compete again roster wise with anybody in this league, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's time to get over the hump, CB, and I think we have the right guys, sprinkled in, right? Some veterans that have been there, done that, that know
Hmm.
how to win, that can guide some of these younger guys. And I do think ultimately this is the year that we overcome that. But we have to get over the injuries because I think it was Reason that said it the other day, and shout out to Reason. And I again, don't quote me on this. I think this is what he said though, or this is what I took it as.
Mm-hmm.
From a running game perspective, CB, it's crazy. Mostert, 21 touchdowns, right? A
Yeah.
Chain, we know how explosive he was last year. When Connor Williams was out of the lineup and Isaiah Wynn got out of the lineup, none of the Miami Dolphin running backs had over a 100-yard game, CB.
Mm.
Not one. Not one 100-yard game. And look at the production you were getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
21 touchdowns for most of, bro, not 100-yard game after the Isaiah Wynn and Connor Williams injury to the offensive line. Those are guys that contributed to the success. Those two guys, CB, were on the field when Miami beat a team by dropping 70 points on them,
Yeah,
right?
for
We've
sure.
seen how explosive this offense can be when healthy, when Tua's clicking, the wide receivers are getting it, the running game, Mike McDaniel's in his back. We see the potential of this team. I just think that's the number one thing for me. Please, God, can we just stay healthy for once, CB?
Bro.
Right? Like, can we
And
go into the playoffs healthy?
I don't know if it's possible with this team. And I don't know if, bro, that's been my biggest question with like the Mike McDaniels team is like, are we underworking guys to where they get hurt, or are we overworking them? It don't seem like we overworking them because we take a lot of time off. We don't practice as much as everybody else. Like, are they underworked so late in the season, like they're dropping like flies? I don't know, but I just feel like that has been the difference the past 2 years, the injuries, and it's killed us. And we have to find a way to alleviate it, or not necessarily alleviate it, but at least have enough depth to where, hey, if somebody does go down, it's not such a drastic fall off. And I think that's where I'm at with it. It's gonna be tough. I know somebody's gonna get hurt. I just hope it's not us falling off a cliff because two or three guys are down, and we don't have to go grab guys off the street because that's the case. So, man, I mean, bro, the injury bug has killed us. It's literally
It,
killed us the
it,
past couple
it has
years.
killed us. It has killed. And again, I don't want to make it a sole reason of why we lost last year, right? But I mean, let's just be honest, bro. Again, people love Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Well, 2 years ago, when they had injuries, they didn't make no noise in the playoffs. They didn't
They
win,
didn't. They didn't.
right? Like, injuries
Yeah,
happen, and not saying you can't overcome, but if we're going to be honest, one of the only guys we've seen overcome injuries or whatever is Patrick Mahomes. He's the only one, right? So, and again, I'm not saying 100% healthy at the end of the year or in the playoffs where everybody, it's a grueling game. There's going to
it
be
is.
nicks and bruises here and there, right? No one's going to go into the playoffs at 100% healthy. I
Right.
just don't, to your point, CB, I don't want to be going week one of the playoffs if we're playing wild card weekend and we're grabbing two defensive pass rushers off the street, right? Like,
That's
can we at
that's a
least have our
terrible look.
guys there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a terrible look. And I think that's why it's so important for Miami to just kind of win the games you need to win early. Like, if we would have clinched them games, like if we would have won the Tennessee game and then beat the Cowboys, shit, we're resting for the rest of for the rest of the season. We would have clinched the division, we would have had it sewn up. Maybe we play, another game for you know, the first round bye and the home, home field throughout the playoffs. But bro, we gotta be in a position to win games early so we can kind of coast down the stretch, get healthy going into the playoffs, and just being ready to play your best football come playoff time. Because we weren't ready to play our best football come playoff time this year, just because we didn't have guys. We didn't have what we needed. Our offensive line, I mean, we started with one offensive line during the season, and that line changed about 10 times throughout the season. Like every week, we're shuffling guys. Bro, we need some health. We need guys like Armstead to push through it, right? And I know, like you said, bro, like guys are gonna get nicked up. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured, right? Everybody in the NFL week 17, week 16 they're hurting. Everybody's
Absolutely.
hurting. Everybody's hurting, right? Um Now, guys who are injured, injured guys can't go out there, but hurt guys can push through it, right? So I'm fine with guys being nicked up, being hurt a little bit, but we need guys healthy, and we can't have 3 or 4 or 5 of our main guys, 3 or 4 or 5 starters injured, right, on the offense. I think we went into the game versus Kansas City with maybe 6, 7 of our starting players that we started with early in the season injured, not even lined up. So that's tough. You're not going to be able to win like that in the NFL. It's just too much good talent, way too much good talent.
I agree, bro. I agree. So I think that those are the two things left for me to see from this team. Please stay healthy, right? And just get over the hump, right? Prove people like me that maybe still is a little skeptic, hell, maybe even UCB, and a lot of
Yeah.
other people within the fan base that want to believe in this team. And at the end of the day, I do believe, I think they can do it, but I can't keep coming out here week and week and just
I
saying, I
know,
believe, right?
bro. I
Like,
know.
I can't keep doing it. So eventually they're going to have to
They
help
got
me
to
help them,
They
right?
gotta
Like,
turn us. They gotta turn us into believers, man. They gotta turn some of the
1000%.
naysayers. I mean, I believe that they have the ability to do it, but
Hmm.
honestly, like when you look at football, it really comes down to like a few things, like who's making the plays, who's making mistakes, right? Who's available, right? I mean, I think if we go into Kansas City with everybody we need in order to win the game, I think we get a shot. We got a shot, and I think this team is going to have a shot every Sunday. Like when you look at our team the past 2 years, like there's not many teams that have just blown us out or that have literally dominated us. Like who can we say dominated us outside of the Ravens last year? Who else?
Well, you could say Buffalo in the week 4 matchup if you want, but
Okay. Or you can say, or you might say Buffalo in week 4. Do you think Philly kind of dominated us, or do you feel like it was a close game?
well, if you remember the touchdown pass that hit Tyreek right in the numbers in the end zone, right? The one he dropped, that I believe that ties the game at 17.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So no, I don't believe they dominated us. No, I do not think so.
Yeah.
So that's just
And
my opinion. What was the game? 31-17, I think.
I think it was 31-17. But
Yeah,
I
I don't
think you're
think it was dominated.
I think you're one score away from making that game a game,
Hmm.
right? And, and
And remember, also in that game, CB, there was 11 penalties called,
oh yeah,
none
we had,
versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
which was crazy. Not one penalty. Not they didn't get not one penalty, which is crazy. But that happens sometimes, and Joseph Latham said it. He said the refs. And sometimes that's the case, but rarely that's the case. And when you do get that, you just got to play through it. But like I said, I don't think anybody really like dominated us last year outside of the Ravens game. Um, and I think this team is going to be in every game, but it's going to be a matter of making the plays, and it's going to be a matter of being available. Like we need our guys available for sure. And we got this. Hey, we got this crazy Gator fan DGE in the chat talking crazy, man. Um, DGE, hey, the baby lizards ain't got none for my Seminoles, so just hold tight, buddy. Hold tight. Um,
Oh, I see Crypto in the chat arguing semantics again. That's Mr. Semantics,
man,
man. If you want
man.
to argue semantics, Crypto's your guy, man.
I don't call him crypto no more. I call him chump change. I call him chump
Oh,
change. He's
damn.
got a new name. His new name is chump change for me, man.
Hey, Crypto's my
Um,
guy, man. I can't call Crypto chump change, man.
hey, two of Tuesday says CB83 and Lou. Do you guys feel that Waddle was dealing with an injury in KC? I really do. I felt like Waddle was kind of hurt down the stretch last year. I felt like he was banged up. I don't feel like he ever really got back to being 100%. After that spat he had where he was out a few games because he didn't play in the Denver game. I don't think last year. There
No,
was
he
a
was out the Denver game. Yep.
yeah. There was a stretch of games that Waddle was kind of out. I don't feel like he ever really got back to being himself. Um, but hopefully this year, with the time off, I've seen him training. He looks, they look great, in shorts and t-shirt. But those guys train hard. They're training with gold feet. down there in Miami who does a good job training the receivers, training the DBs. So yeah, man, I'm excited about what Waddle should do this year. He's paid, right? He should be comfortable where he's at. He got his bag. Now it should just be about going out and performing. And Waddle's tough, so I'll never question his toughness. But now it's just a matter of going out there and making plays and taking the team to the next level, man.
I would agree. It's hard to tell. I think again, Waddle was dealing with some things last year, right? I don't want to just put he was completely hurt or not. Listen, I'll say this though. I believe this is going to be the season where Waddle outputs Tyreek Hill in production. I think Waddle ends up with more yards and more touchdowns this season than Tyreek Hill. That's my bold take.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go out on
say
a
that
limb.
again. Say that again.
I believe Jalen Waddle leads this team in touchdown catches
Mm,
and yards this season.
wow,
That's what I believe.
that's big time. After
I
especially
think
after
that
Tyreek.
contract. I think that contract, right? I think he's going to want to come out and prove himself. And I listen. I think we're closer to the end of Tyreek than we are nearing the future, right? Even if a new deal comes, I think again, remember, Mike McDaniel was hired. He was on the plane, and I know Tyreek wasn't on the team, but they asked him, "What can we expect from Waddle or whatever?" And he was like, "Waddle, Waddle, Waddle." I think the Miami Dolphins are going. We're going to start seeing the transition of. Listen, Tyreek is great, future Hall of Famer. We get it,
Yeah.
but I think they want to kind of showcase Waddle a little bit to getting starting the new era of our new number one wide receiver.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna disagree with you there. I think Tyreek still is he's gonna have the most yards and the most touchdowns, but I think it will even out a bit because um I think Tyreek's yards will go down, but I think his touchdowns will increase. And then I think Waddle's yardage will go up, and I think his touchdowns may go up too. I think we're gonna score a lot this year. So I think the production will be there for both of them, but I do think Tyreek is still going to eclipse Waddle in terms of like yardage and touchdowns. But you add guys like OBJ in the fold, Jonnu Smith, those guys are going to get some action too. And I think OBJ could kind of sneak up on some teams, man. I think having that third option who's explosive, and having a tight end who's explosive, can hit the seam and kind of catch one and take it to the crib. I think that could be like the difference for this offense, especially if you're running the ball efficiently and teams are respecting the run. Man, there's just so many things you can do, and you know the best offensive coordinators, they're going to use the entire field. So you got a bunch of weapons. If you're using the entire field, there's just no telling what Mike McDaniel can do with this offense. No telling. Um, but yeah, now getting into it. I mean, we got 74 in the building, man. Do me your boy a favor. Punch the like button. Um, Waddle for eight touchdowns, Tyreek for 15. Ooh, ooh. I think Lou might have had to get out of here. The Matt Hatter says no red zone goal line phase this year. We got carried away with that ish last year. We did, and that's the cool thing. Tyreek was on the Dive Bar podcast. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to B Show, Ghost, and those dudes. Tyreek was on their podcast and he was talking about the goal line fade. He was like, "It's so pretty. We just wanted to do it again." Nah, y'all need to stop that. And I'm glad B Show asked the question. It was a great question. Hopefully they've kind of retired the goal line fade, or throw it to somebody else. You got to mix it up a little bit. Throw it to somebody who can go up and get it. I like to see OBJ maybe go up and get one. John will go up and get one. There's just so many options. So many different options. Anthony Manzano says, CB, do you think the reason why McDaniel maybe has the most of the route options on one side of the field, maybe because he feels like he has multiple routes elections on both of the field? And this is something that we can touch on a little bit. People will talk about reading defenses and reading the field. And I'm going to touch on this before I get out of here. Um, when it comes to reading defenses and reading the field and making plays, it's really difficult for a quarterback to go from one side and go through his progressions and work to the other side of the field. That's just there's not a lot of time, right? Typically, the ball is out in 2 to 3 seconds, between 2 and 4 seconds. So, with that being the case, you're typically quarterbacks are going to pick a side, right? And they're going to pick a side to read, and they're kind of picking it based on what they see pre-snap, right? And then they see what they do post snap. And if it looks like it's covered post snap, then they should be working to their check down or something like that. Right. And usually their check down is a tight end or a running back, somebody in the flats, somebody in the middle of the field, or somebody just close by that could be a safety blanket for them. Right. Now, people will say, hey, Tua doesn't do a good job reading the field. Right. Um, I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of times it's based on route concepts and what Mike McDaniel draws up. I think Mike McDaniel has to kind of force Tua to get outside of throwing to guys, even if you have defense there, right? And I agree with that. I feel like Tua does kind of force the ball to guys in certain moments where they aren't open, right? And I feel like Tua needs to do a better job of reading the defense, understanding what he sees, and not throwing the ball where you have 2 to 3 guys. He's got to take the check downs or take the underneath stuff, and that's a part of the learning process. So we got to understand that every quarterback in year 4, 5, 6 is still learning how to read defenses, still learning how to process, still learning how to operate their offense. Um, Lou, this is a good topic for you to jump in. How do you feel Tua is in terms of like reading defenses? Um, and people will say, "Hey, he's a one read quarterback. He's a spot thrower," which is crazy talk, right? I think all quarterbacks are taught to throw to a spot. A lot of your offense is based on timing and what you're going to see and how you operate in an offense. There's going to be times where you may get off script a little bit, or you may see something post snap and make a throw, right? As a result of that. But there's not many times like that where you see a guy as the play is progressing and you make that throw. Lou, I think you might be on mute, or you might be tied up in
Oh
a.
no, I was letting you finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on Tua and his ability to like read defenses and the spot throwing narrative and stuff like that?
Listen, I think the spot throwing narrative is absolutely ridiculous, right? I was in Louisville this weekend. CB, I was visiting my son. You know,
Hmm.
he's a Cardinal, right?
Okay.
The quarterback was getting yelled at, and I went to I was there at a practice,
You was
right?
out of practice.
Little
Okay.
thing that, right? The
Okay.
coaches started screaming at the quarterback because the quarterback was kept throwing where the guys were and not anticipating where they were going to be,
Right.
right? They
What
were
route?
on that.
What route were they throwing?
They were running slants. They were running about maybe like some 5 to 7 yard out routes, right?
Okay.
And he wasn't he like either balls were behind or the balls weren't. He wasn't anticipating. It
They
was
weren't
like he was
catching it. They
throwing.
weren't catching it in stride.
They were not catching it in stride, even on the out routes. They were. He wasn't throwing it far enough to the outside to where they could drag the back foot, right,
Right.
and make
Right.
the
Right.
catch.
Right. Right.
And the coach kept telling them, "Why are you throwing it to where they are? You got to anticipate where your court or your receivers are going to be." He was basically telling them, "You're throwing to a spot, right? You know where this route concept is designed to have this wide receiver. That's where you want to throw the ball,
Right.
right? Every quarterback is taught to throw to a spot. It's just ridiculous when I hear that." As far as Tua, can he read defense? Absolutely. I think Tua's problem is where it's just like, and it happens to a lot of quarterbacks, when it's not a clean pocket or Tua sometimes it just feels like he
Gets
rushes,
rattled, get
he
rattled. He
gets
gets rattled.
rattled, right? And
Yeah.
it kind of throws him off. And in this offense, we all know it's about timing and rhythm and stuff. And if Tua's off, then everything's going to be off, right? So it's not for me. It's so much. It's not that he can't read a defense. I just think he kind of has to slow down a little bit because there was a couple times last year when I would watch him where the pocket wasn't collapsing on him, and it just felt like it was rushed. And if Tua can maybe slow down the mental clock a little bit and say, hey, I know I have this here, but I
Hmm.
also know there's something else on top of this. Maybe takes a half a second later or longer to develop. Let me hold on to the ball just a little bit longer. I think that's where people will start seeing. It's not so much that he can't read defense. I just think he he's been programmed now to
To
try to
get
get the ball out of his hands so fast.
yes.
He
Yeah.
has to kind of break out of that mode, CB. It's not that he can't read the defense. It's just he needs to. It's like he's almost like a robot, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a three-step here, and just bro, if you got some time, just let things open up for you. I think he'll do a better job of that this season, at least
And
for me.
bro, and I think you're spot on. I think, when it comes to quarterback play, I think it really comes to like how you're coached, right? And if your coach is telling you, hey, you need to get that ball out as soon as you get into that drop, right? That ball needs to be out. We don't want to risk you getting injured. We don't want to risk you taking hits. Then that's what he's going to be programmed to do, right? Um, he needs to get to the point where he's just more comfortable taking those hits, right? And I don't know if he'll ever get to the point, you know, or get back to where he was in terms of like playing football and just being comfortable being in the pocket. But there were times where, hey, Tua didn't mind taking a hit and he would hold the ball just a little bit longer to make a play. Now, sometimes that gets you in trouble, right? And sometimes it helps you. So there's a very fine line between holding the ball too long and getting it out too early. Very fine line, right? It could either cost you or it could help you a lot, help you tremendously. But you don't want to get your quarterback into that programming where you're saying, "Hey, hold the ball a little bit longer, try to make a play," because 9 times out of 10, it'll hurt you, right? It'll be a fumble or it'll be something like that. So I do want to play a little bit looser. I want him to be able to play off platform a little bit more, and I've seen him do it. Like I've seen him pull the ball down, a turn the corner, look up, make the throw. I've seen that before. I was just watching the Chargers game from last year, first game of the season. And there were like 2 or 3 times in the game where, he didn't see his guy open. He pulled the ball down, tried to turn the corner, and then he saw somebody and hit him, with a pass. So he's capable of doing it. I just think um, he's trying to play within the system. He's trying to play within the play clock and that clock in his head, like he needs to get the ball out right away.
Right.
And that's young quarterbacks are still developing like the wherewithal in terms of like how to turn the corner, how to make the play. And that's something they have to practice a lot. So I think getting a new quarterback coach, right, and taking on a new quarterbacking program with Tom House, I think those are some of the things that he should have been working on in the offseason. Because I feel like Tua was a good quarterback last year. He was just a little, you know, he was a little too rattled at times. And it could be mechanics, it could be a lot that goes along with that. So that's why, calling in professionals to help you with that is monumental, right? So I respect him for doing that, and I think it'll, probably help his game tremendously.
Well, we seen during the OTAs when Tua was there, even the throwing motion, it looks different now. And we heard some rumors about the velocity of the ball was coming out a lot faster, right? So to your point, I think going working with the Josh Houses of the world, the John Becks of the world, is definitely going to help him. But just for the people that say he doesn't scan the field or he's not reading the defense. Go back to the Denver Bronco game last year. We scored within the first 3 minutes of the game, CB. The first touchdown was a I guess it was a touchdown to Tyreek. But remember, we watched, and Tyreek says, I ran the wrong route. Tua was looking off and on and off, and then he found Tyreek again coming across the middle. Remember, he had to kind of like jump to catch the ball, hit the ground, and outran everybody. But that's Tua reading the field, right? That's not the design. That wasn't the design play, right? Tyreek even admitted, I ran the wrong route. So Tua probably looked at Tyreek first, seeing that he wasn't there, probably went somewhere else, right? That one probably wasn't available, came back to Tyreek. That's reading the field. That's
Hmm.
reading the defense.
Yeah.
So to your point, I just think he has to be more consistent at it, right? But
Yeah.
the narrative that he can't do it and that he's just a one read quarterback and stuff, that bro, these are all narratives that going into year 5, we shouldn't still having. This should, I mean, in my opinion, it shouldn't even be a conversation,
Nah,
right? Like,
and it shouldn't. Honestly, we've seen enough on film. If people really go watch, right? And the tour haters, really go watch every throw, every drop back from Tua. There's Josh House has it on, he has it on YouTube. Every throw. There are a bunch of false narratives about Tua as a quarterback, but when you go watch him play, you realize that, man, this kid can play. He's not a bad quarterback. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks I see in the NFL because he can operate um, an offense and do it very efficiently. It's really about like being a point guard and distributing the ball to people, right? That's all you are. You're just a guy who is pitching and catching, allowing guys to make plays. Of course, he's gonna miss reads. Of course, he's gonna miss throws. That's a part of the game. Even the best guys, um, miss throws. They throw interceptions. Um, Lou, I was just bro. So I just sent you that message on Twitter, right? I sent you the link on Twitter, and in that box, in the box I sent you, is that the tweet right before it is the one comparing Tom Brady's stats to Tua's stats over the first 4 years,
mm,
which is crazy to me. I just want to put this up. And honestly, I don't have a lot of time. I got to go get the kids from camp in a second. But I'm going to put this up and I want y'all to see some of the numbers um, that are comparable between like Tua and Brady in their first 4 years. Now I understand Brady was winning Super Bowls or doing whatever, right? I'm fine with you saying that he was winning Super Bowls. That doesn't bother me at all. But when you look at these numbers, when you look at the numbers kind of speak for themselves. And it's kind of crazy that you look at the first 4 years, right? So Tua played 53 games, Brady played 48 games. Tua had 1,000, almost 1,100 attempts. Brady's at 955, 1,638 yards. He had 1,542 yards. I don't know what yards that is. I don't know whether that's rushing or what. Completion percentage, Tua's at 66.9, Brady's at 54.8. Tua's at 12,600 yards. Brady's at 10,233 yards. Um, 7.7 yards per, 5.5 yards per. 69 touchdowns, 81 touchdowns. 37 INTs, 38 INTs. 84 rating, 75 rating. Like, I mean, the numbers aren't far off. And we could say that Brady was winning games. I'm fine with that, right? Winning to me is a team stat. So defense, special teams, offense, that's a team stat, in my opinion, right? When we look at his first 4 years and we compare to him Brady, the numbers are very, very close. Is that a guy you want to give up on in the first 4 years and say, nah, I think we're going to try to find somebody else in the draft? And like, I just don't understand it, Lou. I don't understand it, bro.
hey, they ain't gonna like them numbers, CB.
Hey, bro.
they they gonna be mad at you, boy.
I don't understand it. Like people will say, you know, Tom Brady is the greatest. He's in his first 4 years, the numbers are very, very similar. And I know y'all gonna hate this post, but man, it just is what it is. And the numbers don't lie. Like they really do speak for themselves. And y'all can go find this on my Twitter. When you look at their first 5 years, the numbers ain't numbering. Brady's numbers aren't tremendously better than Tua's in their first 4 years. They just aren't. Now we can say it's a different league. We could say he was winning Super Bowls. We could say whatever we want to say. Them numbers aren't tremendously better. Tua is better in a multiple categories. Multiple categories. So, ooh, I mean, I don't know
Hey,
what they.
man.
Hey, I don't know what to tell y'all, bro. Y'all need to take a screenshot of it. Go do your research. If y'all want to give up on Brady in his first 4 years after numbers like that, I don't think it's happening, right? But people will say, I don't know about Tua. I don't know, y'all. Y'all need to do some research. Y'all need to go watch some film because Tua's actually operating really well, in his first 4 years in the NFL. And I'm sure if we went and pulled up Peyton Manning's numbers and pulled up Aaron Rodgers' numbers in their first 4 years, they would be very similar to what we have here with Tua and Brady. And probably Tua will probably knock them dudes off in terms of a lot of categories. Um,
Mm.
so it is what it is. And I see a lot of people, a lot of people heated right now. Crypto talking about who was Brady's receivers in his first 4 years. That
I told you, Mr. Semantic.
here it come. Hey, here it come.
Mr.
Um,
Semantic showed up.
hey, we could talk about who was Tua's receivers in his first 2 years.
Oh, that
Not
would be Mac Hollins, Isaiah
Mal-
Ford,
Malcolm Perry,
Malcolm. Oh, DVP.
his favorite, Crypto's favorite DVP, right? His favorite player. So if we take the 2 years of terrible receivers and we take the 2 years of really good receivers and Tyreek and Waddle, that should balance it out. That I feel like that should even it out, right? I mean that will make sense to me, Crypto. I mean, I don't know. That sound like average to me. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. They don't like that.
Oh, they ain't gonna like that. No, no, they definitely ain't gonna like that.
Yeah, yeah. But let me get out of here, man. I appreciate you coming through, bro. I gotta go grab these kids, man.
Hey, absolutely, CB. Thank you for the invite. Real quick though, real quick, just a
Yeah.
shameless plug. It's not even for me, right? It's for one of my homies.
Oh, you breaking up. Who you? You there? You there? We might have lost him. We might have lost him. I wonder if he's so his shameless plug might be Shake Money. Shake Money. Shake Money has a show tonight. He has OJ McDuffie in the blender. Is that what you was gonna talk about, Lou? Is that what you had?
Hey, my bad, CB. I don't know this area, but real
No, you
quick,
good.
it's just Shake Money tonight
Yep.
is doing a very special episode of the Blender. He has OJ McDuffie coming on tonight.
Yes.
Tonight live at 7 o'clock. It's going to be on Larry K's channel, I believe. So
Yes.
everybody go and support the homie Shake. That's going to be a great episode. OJ McDuffie's probably going to have a lot of great insight of the Miami Dolphins, and they'll probably get into maybe some talk of his career as well. So I just wanted to Shake out in the Blender, and CB again. Thanks for the invite, and we'll do it again soon, homie.
For sure. For sure. Appreciate you coming through, bro. Always.
All right, homie.
Hey man, shout out to Shake Money. Yeah, y'all go check out Shake Money with a Dolphins great OJ McDuffie tonight in the blender on Larry K's channel. Hey, I'm watching. I'll be there punching the like button. I appreciate everybody coming through. Like I said, man, we cranking up on the regular now. This is 3 shows this week. We gonna keep it rolling. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications. Man, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the donations. Shout out to Irv with the $2 donation. Shout out to a Tuesday with the $5 donation. Man, I appreciate everybody showing love to the channel. It helps. It helps me continue to do cool stuff. I'm trying to get the training camp. Let's get that thing cranking up so we can go down there, get some of that good content. Watch them boys get after it. And just cover the Miami Dolphins, man. Cover us, make sure our guys are working towards being that Super Bowl team we want them to be, man. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming through. I'm out. See ya. Appreciate the homie Lou coming through. I see everybody. Go check out Shake Money tonight on Larry K's channel. He's got OJ McDuffie in the blender. Check out the Dive Par Pod. Those guys do a good job. Everybody else out there too, man. I appreciate y'all. All the Dolphins content creators. AFC East Roundtable, Miami Dolphins Roundtable will be back soon too. We'll be back probably in the next week or so. Right before training camp, we're gonna get that thing cranking up. So, hey, appreciate y'all, man. So chill. I see you. I see y'all in the chat. Shout out to all the homies, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'm out. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.